Hello, this is George Millar, and I'd like to introduce three people who work with seniors in this community in a variety of capacities. On my immediate left is Harry Procter. Harry is Senior Citizens Councillor for Nelson and District. Welcome, Harry. And next to Harry is Lucy Methuen, who wears a number of hats, but in dealing with our interview today, she's co-chair of Nelson Seniors Network and has been a senior peer counselor and is now a consultant. Welcome, Lucy.
Thank you.
And across the table from me, Norm Manson, who chairs the Help Committee for the BC Government Retired Employees Association. And Norm is also the vice chair of the association itself. Welcome, Norm. Norm, let's begin with you. You're chair of the Help Committee for this particular group of retired employees. How large is the committee and what does that mean?
It's a committee of one. I guess we got started actually when one of our members had a bit of a ventilation problem, and because he knew that I had some experience in construction and maintenance, he asked me if I could help him with it. So I was able to do that, and out of that we decided to form this help committee. Originally I had a couple of other people working with me, but one of them has passed away, and well, the other one is still available, but he's out of town a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So
you work mainly as a committee of one, doing what then?
Well, any senior particularly that has a problem with a roof or a chimney, any kind of a maintenance problem really, may come to them. They may have had an offer from a roofing company, say for example, which is a good example, I think. You know, somebody has tried to sell them a new roof, and they asked me to come around and have a look at it. Often I have found that they really don't need a roof at all, you know. I wouldn't like to give the impression that all people who try to sell roofs are dishonest or anything like that, but there are a few, you know, and so I've been able to help quite a few people in that area, particularly. Yeah.
Yes, you're right, although it's certainly not the majority of people in the roofing business.
Certainly
this community has had the odd scam in that regard.
That's right.
And it's good to know that a person like yourself is available if there are seniors who have these concerns. Somebody like you would be available to check it out for them. You are, of course, in the retired employees of the BC government, and you mentioned being in construction. What was your role with the government when you were employed?
Well, initially I worked at Ocala Prison Farm, and for about 14 years there, and I was building instructor there. I was in charge of the various outside shops. From there I went with the Department of Public Works in Vancouver as the foreman of works, and from there to Nelson as the superintendent of works, and then the British Columbia Buildings Corporation took over that function, which was the maintenance of all provincial government buildings and grounds in the province, and I was building manager for them before I retired. Yeah.
Sounds like you have the expertise behind you to help people, for sure. That's good. Lucy, co-chair of the Nelson Seniors Network. What exactly is the network?
Well, the network is composed of a lot of senior citizens in the city, and Norm is one of the members of that committee, and Harry here is on that committee also. And it's representative of a lot of the different areas. We have a teacher as well, of professions in the city.
Okay. Does it also represent groups of seniors organizations?
I'm not aware that that happens, but possibly there are groups. I can't think of it right now.
I see. Harry is shaking his head. Affirmative.
The makeup originally was to ask various organizations related to the senior citizens to have representatives, and the council sort of developed from those grouping of people.
Okay, thank you. as well as being co-chair, you say you have done peer counseling
Yeah.
with seniors. What did that involve?
Well, a lot of it was giving friendly company to some people, to some of our volunteers read, to people who may be blind, or visit and people who are homebound. One of the things that I did as a senior peer counselor was to teach a lady how to drive. Her husband had been injured and was unable to drive, so she needed to drive, and I'm happy to say that she got her license and she's still driving. I thought that was
Good.
Unusual, but it was really fun.
And how many people have done the senior peer counseling role in our community?
Well, one of the components of the senior peer counselors was a training program, and in the program that I was involved with, there were 20 of us who were trained. In the previous program, there were about 25. Not all of those people are at present volunteering on that basis, but we still have a lot of volunteers, and people from other agencies can phone up, or individuals can phone up and ask if a volunteer can help.
And so what's the number they're calling?
The one-stop number, that's another program
We'll
of...
get to that too in a moment.
Home support services is 352-2119, but the one-stop phone number is 352-6008, and that's a number that any senior citizen can call between 9 and noon, Monday through Friday, and they will get a response.
One stop is a catchy sounding term.
Yes.
What does it do?
Well, what it was designed to do was very often people have been shunted when they go for help to an agency, for example. The agency is unable to provide them with the answer, so they tell them, we'll go somewhere else. And this is, they get moved around, shifted around from one place to the other, and become very frustrated and feel that there is no help available to them. The one-stop means that when you phone one-stop, people there, we will do whatever we can to give them the assistance that they require. And we have a large file of referral numbers that we can give to people for any problem that they might have.
Harry, you're a senior citizens counselor, and this is a provincial appointment, I understand.
Yes, it is. I'm a volunteer, but it is by appointment. It's a non-political appointment. In fact, the appointment is done from within the community. A counselor, we're always sort of self-conscious about that term counselor, because there seems to be the implication of therapy involved.
Yes.
And that is not so. However, it's a grouping of citizens throughout the province. The office exists in 114 BC communities, and there's 175 people involved, similar to myself. And they are the logo on the letterhead of the ministry says program of seniors helping seniors, and that's about the size of it. It does work such as the One Stop does in being an information center, but it goes beyond that and does actual practical help.
Okay, I'm not quite a senior yet, but assuming I were, and I phone you, Harry, and I say, I need some consultation on a particular subject, what range of subjects might be dealt with?
Well, there's a weekly session. And ordinarily, under those circumstances, you would be given an appointment, and I would see you on a Monday afternoon. But if you wanted me to call your house or come to your house, that's also possible. And the categories of help would be in financial matters related to pensions and allowances, applications, making out of supplement applications, the annual thing, income tax return assistance, budgeting, analysis of financial situations, and even investment situations. There's some elder abuse intervention. People that may have difficulty related to the immigration department. there'll be assistance with that, and even contact with the members of Parliament or members of the Legislative Assembly or the department itself, whichever is required. There's referrals about people that require just little helps in their home, plumbing and so on, sort of handyman help. Transportation to hospital or to see a doctor, a lawyer, and so on. I have been doing a shopping service for handicapped people. That is very time-consuming and difficult, and so I would hope that someday there will be a volunteer group developed to carry that out. There's a referral to legal aid, to social service when there's financial problems or health problems. A variety of things of that nature.
Okay.
Advice on developing how to get a will developed or an estate probated. A variety of things.
We were referring with Norm to the concern that does happen from time to time, scams of one sort or another. Does that type of thing come to you as well?
Yes, I've handled a couple or three such situations, and have had assistance from the police and from the legal aid and the advocacy center downtown has been helpful in those situations. And that's what I do. I have the information, so I'm able to refer it to the right agency to handle it.
Going back to you, Lucy, we said you had previously been a senior peer counselor,
Right.
and that there was a certain type of training involved in that. What sort of training were you given?
Well, a lot of it was communication. Quite often people suffer from miscommunication, and I think a lot of people misunderstand the meaning of the word also. People think it's talking, but mostly it's listening. And that's the one thing that we learn. And values clarification, I mean, we have different values. We all have different ideas about how things should be, and there's a certain amount of judgment that has to be suspended when you're dealing with the people.
Yes.
So these are the things we learned in the training. It was really valuable just for everyday life, in fact. I'd like to state also that all of the things that Harry has talked about that he does, One Stop also provides those kinds of services as well. And it's fortunate that we have Harry, because he refers to us and then we also refer to his program too. So it's nice to have cooperation that way.
So how do you decide?
Well, sometimes there are things that we really don't know how to solve, and we always know that Harry will know. If we don't know how to solve it, he can solve it, or he knows where to go. But I would say most of the time we have the referral, because we have so many files, so many phone numbers, and people just need that some information that we can give them.
So how wide an area around Nelson do your services extend?
Well, I've worked with people in the Slocan Valley. I know that people have worked with others out the lake as well, and as far as Castlegar even. It covers a big area, and I know that Harry covers a big area as well. Even though there are other services possibly available within those areas, people will come when they're aware that we are around, that they will come. And the income tax service is well advertised, and that's one that's very heavily used. And that's a good opportunity for me to visit people that I haven't seen for a year, so I get to see my old friends once a year.
And Norm, you're not based directly out of the same program or same location as the other two are. How would people get in touch with you and get you involved in their concerns?
Yeah, well, most of the ones have contacted me at home or at our BC Government Retired Employees Association meetings. But I also have been contacted through the Seniors One Stop, And I don't get a lot of calls, but The ones I have had, I've derived a lot of satisfaction from. It's really great to be able to help some of these people. I can think of one in particular that was really gave me a lot of satisfaction. This was an elderly lady whose fence was in need of repair, and her husband had built this fence. And she got a price, a very high price. I won't quote the figure, but it was way out of line. She asked me to come around and look at the fence. She got I contacted a young carpenter that I knew, and he was able to put that fence in good repair for less than a quarter of the cost that she had been quoted, you know. And the next time I went around, she hugged me and she just about cried, you know. She was so pleased, yeah. In fact, tears did come to her eyes. She was so pleased, you know, yeah. So it's very satisfying, really.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
I imagine
That's
you could
certainly-
have your
yeah.
story too of
Yeah.
primary satisfaction.
I certainly find that, yeah, there's a lot of gratitude and a lot of
Yeah.
appreciation for our services, so it's really gratifying to be able to do these things for people.
Yeah.
It sounds like our seniors in this area do have quite a number of things to look after, specific needs and concerns that they have, and we're pleased to be able to talk briefly about these this afternoon. And Harry and Lucy and Norm, I want to thank you very much for joining me, and thanks for watching.
Pleasure.